In Act 5, Scene 1 of Romeo and Juliet, Romeo is alone, happy, and unencumbered, having had an odd dream about love reviving death, when Balthazar arrives and tells him that Juliet has died. Romeo responds by asserting that he will return to Verona. When his servant urges him to be patient, Romeo asks if the friar has sent any letters, but there are none. Like Juliet, he intends to be faithful to his marriage vows in life or death. He remembers seeing an old apothecary from whom he's sure he can buy some poison, which he does by appealing to the apothecary's poverty. Romeo enters this final act optimistic, even though he has no reason to be. In his last glimpse of Juliet, she was ominously pale, and they both seemed to fear a disaster. The only thing that has changed since then for Romeo is that he is alone in Mantua. The mishap that Balthazar arrives with the report of Juliet's death before the friar's letter reaches Romeo drives the plot from here on out. Having no reason to doubt his servant's word, Romeo truly believes Juliet is dead. His first reaction is to act immediately. Instead of sleeping with her in a sexual way, he will sleep with her in death. In addition to the prominent prophetic visions Romeo and Juliet have of each other's deaths throughout the play, the idea of fate as a force is interwoven into the plot. The friar, then, who represents spiritual matters, can be seen as a human hand helping fate's directives come to fruition. Act 5, Scene 3 of Romeo and Juliet takes place in the churchyard where the Capulet crypt is located. Paris sends his servant away with strict instructions to be the lookout as Paris says goodbye to Juliet. Paris shows a new side in this scene as he spreads flowers for Juliet and promises to water them with his tears. He indicates he has a right to be there. After his servant warns that someone is approaching, Paris hides. Romeo and Balthazar arrive with tools to break into the crypt. Romeo gives instructions to be left alone and hands Balthazar a letter for his father. He explains his intention to lie in the tomb and commit suicide. Paris sees Romeo and approaches him. Romeo tries to deflect a fight, but Paris comes at him. Romeo stabs him, and before he dies, Paris asks Romeo to place him with Juliet. Romeo breaks into the tomb, bringing Paris's body, and finds the lifeless Juliet. He exclaims that she transforms the grave into a lantern. Determined to join his wife in death, he drinks the poison, kisses her, and dies. Friar Lawrence arrives too late and learns from Balthazar that Romeo is in the tomb. When the friar reaches Juliet, she awakens and asks where Romeo is. The friar shows her his body and tells her their plan did not work. He hears a noise and asks her to leave with him, but she refuses. Alone, she spies the empty poison vial and Romeo's still wet lips, so she kisses Romeo in the hopes the poison will kill her too. When she hears others entering, she realizes she must hurry and kills herself with Romeo's dagger. Paris's page brings a watchman, and then gradually Balthazar, the friar, and the prince enter. The Capulets arrive to learn the dreadful news and see their newly dead daughter with a dagger in her bosom. Lord Montague enters to tell the others that his wife has died in grief over her son's banishment. Friar Lawrence explains what happened and offers to sacrifice his life if the fault is his. However, the prince excuses him after hearing Romeo's letter to his father, which confirms the friar's story. The prince sums up the cause of the double suicide. None of this would have happened if the two families hadn't been feuding. Lord Montague and Lord Capulet take hands and agree to honor each other's children with golden statues. The final scene of Romeo and Juliet brings together all of the characters who have had conflict with one another throughout the play. All are reconciled, either through death or through forgiveness.